Hello everybody and welcome to Against the Fence. This is the place to be if you're obsessed with the UFC. Now this weekend we've got UFC 263 and we've got Izzy Adesanya taking on Marvin Vettori. So we've decided to give you our top 5 middleweights of all time. Don't go anywhere. All right, so boys, who wants to go first then?
Oh man, okay. Look, I'm up for it. I don't mind.
I'll let you go first.
I can flex.
Okay. Now, as you're watching this video, don't be shy. Get in the comment section below your top 5s as well, and perhaps even if you agree with our top 5s, please do smash a thumbs up on the video. And maybe get in the comment section and just let us know who's got the upper hand. All right, let's go straight back into it then, shall we?
Yeah. All right. So in at number 5, we've got Michael Bisping. Now he's quite exciting. This guy, he's 30 wins, 9 losses. He's defended the title only once. But you know the reason why I wanted to have him featuring in my top 5 is because he's this image of grit and determination in the octagon. You know, he's a Brit fighter as well. I do love this guy when he fights. A good example of when he really did overcome adversity and sort of demonstrate that grit and determination was against Henderson. It was the last win, I guess, in his career as well. So he did defy one of Henderson's devastating rights to the chin, and he still sort of saw it through to the end and get a win on that. So look, it was super exciting. He also had an incredible 5-round victory against Anderson Silva as well. So that's why this guy, for me, deserves to be somewhere in my top 5, and I didn't have enough to justify him going any further, but I do have to put him in somewhere, and that's in the top poll. So in at number 4, we got Rich Franklin. Now this guy is 29, 7 and 1 in his records. He holds the record for the most significant strikes in UFC middleweight bout, 2 title defenses as well. He had an excellent reign in the UFC, but it's one that a lot of people may have forgotten. This was quite early on. He won the middleweight belt at UFC 53 via doctor stoppage when he beat Eric Tanner. In his second title defense, this guy, he broke his hand in the second round, but also delivered 127 significant strikes in that round as well. Now, for me, reading that was impressive. That's such an impressive stat and record to have as well. It's just incredible. You know, that sort of rawness was one of the reasons why I had to put Rich in at number 4 here. Other impressive victories he's had as well, Jorge Rivera, and there's Chuck Liddell as well. Franklin deserves some recognition for what he did in the early middleweight division, which is why I put him above Michael Bisping. He needs not be forgotten for what he's done. He was one of the first UFC's real first star champions. So
yeah, definitely.
He's an absolute vet of the sport. And
he is. Yeah, that's a nice little pick there, mate. Nice little gem.
Gone up in weight as well to fight at light heavyweight. So no, I think it's a decent.
Yeah, it's a nice pick, mate. Nice pick. Go.
Number 3, it is the Chris Weidman. Now, this guy, he's 15 wins, 6 losses, and he defended the belt on 3 separate occasions, including a rematch against the King himself, I would say, for now. Now, he's not your knockout artist, but he had some really impressive victories and an impressive 13-fight win streak in his career. 9 of which, of course, were in the UFC. You know, this includes the time he stopped Anderson Silva twice. Really impressive. The first time, of course, there's a bit of dispute there, wasn't there?
Controversial.
It really was. Yep. You know, lowering his arms or luring him out, that sort of thing. And then the second time, let's just say we don't want to remember that. So he's currently fallen in some way on some difficult times recently in the octagon. You know, he has had an impressive streak and all that sort of stuff going on early on in his career, which is why I had to put him in at number 3, and I couldn't really take him any higher than that. He hasn't really been able to stop the new generation of fighters who are just relentless to be washing him and his generation out really effectively. Now, my number 2. This gets exciting, and you know, this is where I'm gonna have to sort of watch the time because I can run away with these guys all day long. My number 2 is Izzy Adesanya. So look, he's 20 wins and 1 loss here in the UFC, but he's actually undefeated in the middleweight division, if you think about it. So he has a very impressive 15 KOs. He won the interim belt, and then he won the belt again, of course, when Whitaker came back. And then he defended it twice as well. So it's as good as 3 defenses in my eyes. And look, the guy's looking now at a 4th defense, of course, coming up here on the weekend. He's really going to be stepping above the crowd, I guess, if you like, with some of the defenses, belt defenses in the division as well. But look, why I had to put him in is because this guy's got sneaky power. You know, his fighting style is simply something to marvel at, right? Never a boring fighter to watch, and you know, he knows how to piss people off.
Yeah,
he really does, and he does it so well. He picks all the right fights that we want to see, and he can back him up too.
Yeah, and it adds to what makes him so great. Really.
Yeah,
it makes
true. Yeah.
He's marketable, and there's no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah. I can go on for decades with this guy's notable victories as well. I mean, there's Derek Bronson, of course, round one, catapulting him, of course, from that fight on the scene as like the one to watch. And then, of course, he had Anderson Silva. He's able to defeat him. Marvin Vettori, overcome massive adversity there. Whitaker, Costa, and, basically the who's who in the division have all cut their teeth against Adesanya. Which brings us to number one, boys. And you may not be surprised, but this guy is just a clear-cut winner for me. It is Anderson Silva. He is in at number one. 34 wins, 11 losses. He's got the most finishes and wins in the middleweight history. And this guy has got an impressive, I had to look this one up. This is an impressive stat. It's 2,450-day title reign. It's something else. When I was talking about the fighters just earlier, you might have noticed there's a bit of a theme. 1 title defense, 2 title defenses, 3 title defenses. This guy has had a winning streak that's lasted 6 years, from 2006 to 2021. 12. I can't count. A 16-fight winning streak and amassed up a total of 10 title defenses. Which is why this guy, for me, has to be standing at number one. Now, of course, he has been beaten by everyone I've mentioned on this list. So, you might argue, why is he in at number one? But you just, on paper, the accolades he's got there, it's just so impressive when you look at it. He's got some notable wins as well. Of course, there's Chael Sonnen, there's Dan Henderson, top-tier middleweight fighters of the time he's been able to go through. He scored some of the most iconic finishes as well. No fighter has spent more days as a champion than Silva. So that's why, for me, this guy's got to be sitting there firmly at number one.
Yeah, some solid picks there, Mr. Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that I want to ask about, though, is you said you kind of based it on what was it, title defenses, right?
Yeah, I mean, as we went through it, you would have seen a theme of, I didn't base on it, but there was a theme of it, for sure. Yeah,
so how come you've got Israel Adesanya above Chris Weidman, then?
Because he's got a fight coming up, so that'll be another title defense.
So you get
I'm still banking on him to win it. I'm banking, but also, so yeah, I get what you're saying there. I counted, of course, his unified belt win with Whitaker as for me, it's as good as a defense. So he's got 2 defenses, yes, but he had to fight for the belt again when Whitaker come back, which is as good as a defense.
That's true.
Okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Good answer. All right, then. Testing you. On to the next person. Don't mind going up next.
Yeah, go
Take it away, JK.
This is my top 5, and in at number 5, I've got Chris Weidman. He is a former champion, of course, and defeated the likes of Juicy Vitor Belfort and former light heavyweight champion Lyoto Machida. Now, the reason that I put him in is based on accomplishments. Apart from the previous facts, Chris Weidman's ability to combine his boxing skills with his unbelievable wrestling credentials has been second to none. My favourite performance of his, though, of course, was that win against Vitor Belfort. I thought Vitor Belfort was on a tear at the time, and I thought he was a true contender. And I was quite surprised that Chris Weidman put him out, to be honest. Now, to put Chris Weidman in at number 5, I did change it at one point because I did have Michael Bisping at number 5 as well. But then I took him out. So I'm going to give you the reason why I've taken him out.
I want to hear this because I had Chris at number 5, and then I moved him up and I put Bisping there.
Oh, so now here we go.
Yeah, what did you do?
Ding, ding, ding. This is where we start. Now, arguably, both guys evenly matched when it comes to the level of competition that they've fought and won against. But in my opinion, prime Chris Weidman beats prime Michael Bisping. And it's purely on pressure and wrestling. Now, in Michael Bisping's previous fights, he had a really tough time against Chael Sonnen. Now, Chael Sonnen is a very relentless wrestler himself.
Yeah.
There's definitely arguments to be made of who's better between Chris Weidman and Chael Sonnen. But that's why I've gone for that reason alone. And that's why Chris Weidman sits in above Michael Bisping. Right, now, in at number 4, I've got Yoel Romero. Okay, bit surprising. Now, Yoel Romero has 11 of his 13 wins are by knockout, which is pretty impressive. And he's represented Cuba in freestyle wrestling at the Olympics, capturing a silver medal. My reason that I've got Yoel Romero in there is arguably one of the most scariest fighters to grace the division. He demonstrated freakish power and athleticism at such an old age, and I thought that was very, very impressive. You know, and my favourite fights of his were the ones against Paulo Costa and the fight against Lyoto Machida, and purely because I put a bet on that night and I scored the round three knockout to Yoel Romero, and surely enough, it happened. So that's one of my favourite fights of his. Now, why have I got Yoel Romero above Chris Weidman? Well, he knocked Chris Weidman out in round 3 of their fight, and I believe Romero had all the tools to become champion and could have become interim champion if he had made weight against Luke Rockhold. So that's why I've got him in there. I think he's he's a bit of a dark horse in there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, good points though.
He was a well-rounded athlete, and I think that's why I wanted to put him
I don't
in
know about well-rounded. He had the knockout power for sure, but I've got to argue.
Well-rounded. He was well-rounded.
He was well-rounded.
Really
incredible wrestler.
He's knocked out
he
most
was
people he's come
athletic
across,
as fucking anything.
Oh, you see, his body is like chiseled. That's true.
Yeah,
but he couldn't make weight.
I know, and
it's the muscle that weighed him down.
There's an argument to be there of why he should be in a top 5 because there was cheating scandals as well about getting off the stool and and things like not making weight.
I remember that against
Tim Kennedy.
Tim Kennedy just took forever to get up, didn't he?
Yeah, it's quite funny. But but either way, he steamrolled through a lot of top competition in the division, and that's why I've got him in at number 4. Now, in at number 3, I've got Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles himself. Now, yes, he's a former champion and he's an Ultimate Fighter winner. Tied second in bonuses overall. Now, the reason I've got Robert Whittaker in there is no question that Robert Whittaker is one of the most decorated fighters we've seen in the division, and he continues to dominate in impressive fashion. My favourite fight of his, for example, is definitely against Kelvin Gastelum, which was quite recently. I think it was a phenomenal performance of his. And he continues to develop and get better and better. And, of course, the Yoel Romero fight itself, I think that was a pretty spectacular one, very close. And beat him twice. Now that moves on to why Robert Whittaker is above Yoel Romero and Chris Weidman. Now he's defeated Romero twice. That's a reason. Yeah. And I think his technical ability, precision and style causes a lot of problems for a prime Chris Weidman. And that's the reason why I've slotted him in at number 3. Now, in at number 2, we've got Israel Adesanya himself, of course, as well. He tied second for longest win streak and a number of overall title fights. Yep. His ability to set traps for his opponents on the feet and catch them in the counter is just a joy to watch, to be honest. And my favourite fights of his were the Kelvin Gastelum fight, of course, which is an absolute brawl. And the way that his performance was just spectacular that night. And the performance against Marvin Vettori as well. I've picked that out as one of my favourite fights because watching it back, I've noticed that Israel back then seemed a lot slimmer and a lot faster. And that's the reason why I really like that performance, especially compared to his most recent fights. I think he was just slick on that fight. But why is he above Robert Whittaker? For now, he just edges Whittaker. Okay, for now. Because he knocked him out. However, I'm very excited to see a rematch down the line because it could be a complete different fight. Yep. And he has more title defenses than Whittaker as well, of course. Definitely movement in my top 5s, I would say. If we revisit this video, it would be interesting to see what changes are made. Now, my last pick is no question about it. It's Anderson Spider Silva. There's no surprise about it, and it's just purely based on accomplishments alone. It's just hard to ignore. Watching Anderson Silva growing up was just spectacular, especially in his prime.
The Spider.
And, there's a lot of questions there. I've gone through it and thought about it. Does prime Anderson Silva beat Robert Whittaker? Does prime Anderson Silva beat Israel Adesanya? Now, granted that Israel has a win over Anderson Silva, it wasn't Anderson Silva in his prime. His performances had dipped. And it was all to do with kind of the levels of testosterone in Anderson Silva's body, really, because in his early days, he's an absolute killer. And I think in his early days, I think he beats Izzy.
So, you don't even need to speak about anything else. All you need to do is just say Anderson Silva and
I mean, it speaks for itself, right?
Speak for itself.
He does.
It really
he does
does.
speak for himself.
Exactly.
6-year win streak.
You got some
Champion.
solid picks there, Jake. I'll tell you, you got some nice solid picks there.
Yeah, that was interesting actually. Did learn a couple of things in that as well. Looking at some of the reasons why you put people above certain people. Yeah, also interested to. I mean, I'm standing strongly by Izzy when you say you want a rematch against Whittaker. Bring it on. I mean,
yeah,
you
definitely.
know, Izzy's sick.
Yeah. 100%. All right.
Right then, I guess it's down to me then, boys.
It is. Take us home, Ash.
Right,
take us home.
so in at number 5, I have Michael the Count Bisping. For over 20 years, he's been fighting for that to try and get a title shot. Finally gets it, but on 2 weeks' notice, and then knocks out Luke Rockhold the way he done. Just the story of Michael Bisping. Obviously, I grew up watching him. The amount of fights he would take, and just the story of Michael Bisping. And then to touch on what you said again, the way he got his rematch with Dan Henderson, the way he won that as well. He got knocked down several times, got back up.
Sheer grit and determination.
Just a true warrior of the UFC. And for him to win the belt, me and Jordan watched it live. Just what a moment. What a moment for us, to be honest. Because obviously he's our Brit. He has to be in my top 5.
He's in my top 6.
He has to be in my top 5. So I've got Michael the Count Bisping in at number 5. So in at number 4, I've got Chris Weidman. Yep. He's beaten Anderson Silva twice in his prime. So that's an accolade in itself to beat Anderson Silva once, but let alone twice. I know the second one was a bit controversial.
First one was controversial, but the second one was nasty.
Yeah, I mean, there's arguments. There's arguments to me. You can downplay Chris Weidman purely because Chris Weidman caught Anderson when Anderson was goofing around.
That's true. Yeah,
and you know, maybe you didn't get to see the real Anderson Silva.
It's true,
but to his best.
For me, he's got to be in my top, just purely because obviously just his wrestling accolades, just his style of fighting as well. Arguably, people were saying if Chris Weidman would have beaten Uriah Hall, he could have been, well, not next in line, but he has the style to beat Izzy. But obviously, unfortunately, what happened to Silva happened to him. Yeah. But just purely on his title defenses, that's it. Just purely on title defenses, I've ranked him above Michael Bisping. Okay. So that was my number 4 pick. In at number 3, I've got Robert Whittaker with an overall record of 23 wins, 5 losses. He did go 9-0 before losing the belt, beating the likes of Darren Till, Gerard Cannonier, Gastelum. And again, to touch on the Gastelum point, he dominated Gastelum. And like you guys have Izzy at number 2. And arguably, Gastelum gave Izzy his toughest test. Whittaker dominated Gastelum for 5 rounds.
Oh, that's a good point. That's something we haven't mentioned.
For me, he has to be in there around the top 3. Again, he's juggling it around. I love Robert Whittaker's style as well. Just hands down, just will get in your face. I love his little combos that he does. Just Robert Whittaker, he is in and out. His speed, and again,
that's what he does it for at the end of the day.
Jordan mentioned he had Romero in there.
Yeah,
like no one wanted to fight Romero at one point in his career. Everyone was turning down Romero. Robert Whittaker beat him twice and went 5 rounds with Romero. Now, boys, am I going to mix it up or am I not?
2-1. Let's see. Where are we?
In at number 2, I have gone for Israel Adesanya. Again, he has to be in everyone's top 5. People are saying he's like Anderson Silva 2.0. His style of fighting is like Anderson Silva. He's been knocking out people left, right, and centre. Obviously, like you were saying, that people were saying that Derek Brunson could have tested based on his wrestling credential. Yeah. He won't overcome my top pick, but Israel Adesanya has to be in my top 5, and he's in at number 2. Because he is the champion currently. The reason I've ranked Israel Adesanya above Robert Whittaker just purely because he's knocked out Robert Whittaker. In at number 1, I've got Anderson the Spider Silva. Again, we've all got him there. He has to be there just based on his accolades. Like you said, 16-fight winning streak, 10 title defenses. Anderson the Spider Silva is my number 1 pick.
He had the untouchable aura about him at the time, and there's along with the accolades, there's no question about it.
Yeah. Just to touch up on that point again, I know Israel Adesanya does have a win over him. I know Michael Bisping does have a win over him. I've grown up watching Anderson Silva, and at that one point he did have the who on earth is going to beat this guy?
Yeah. I guess at the end of the day, we're comparing people in their primes effectively.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A lot of people will probably say, because they might have grown up in different areas of UFC, they might say that Israel Adesanya is their number 1 pick.
Yeah, that's totally fine. That's
totally fine. I'm just saying, just based on the I've grown up watching Anderson Silva, as I've probably mentioned in a couple of other top 5 videos. He has to be in my number 1 pick.
Yeah,
all right.
No, it's decent. It's a good pick, man. And you know, you said Izzy Adesanya being classed or coined as Anderson Silva 2.0, right? Now, just to say, I mean, give him. I'll be flexible. Say, look, 6 title defenses, and then I'll be like, oh man, this is like
It's just the style of fighting similar, isn't it?
Yeah. He is raising the question, who can beat this guy? And that's what's similar. But if you was to say to him, you're like Anderson Silva 2.0, he'll rip your head off. He doesn't like being like someone else, does he?
Yeah.
He would have a go. He'd be like, hey, I'm not like no one. I'm like no one you've ever seen before. I'll tell you that now. I'm new. I'm something new, and you're going to marvel at me. That's Adesanya for you.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, when you compare our previous top 5s, in my opinion, I think the middleweight division has only taken off in sort of the past 5 to 6, maybe 7 years because of Anderson Silva effectively passing the torch on.
Yeah,
he dominated for such a long period. It's the reason why we haven't got any of those people in that period in our top 5s.
The Spider had just hogged it. Didn't let anyone else shine for 6 years.
Yeah, that's it.
So, but yeah, look, otherwise, I mean, that's really exciting picks, man. I like that. And I like how I didn't see your work. I didn't see your work. And I like how we all have like 2 and 1 similar. Different reasons.
Different reasons, different angles.
But they're there. They are there. And I'm surprised none of you guys got Rich Franklin in there. I mean, we're talking about all time, aren't we? And
he is a veteran of the sport. Yeah, a true pioneer, as they say, of the sport.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, especially in that division as well.
Yeah,
but
true.
Get your thoughts in too, guys. I mean, would you have had Rich Franklin in your picks? Or is it just me?
And you could have had a number of other ones as well. You could have had Vitor Belfort if you really wanted to.
Juiced Vitor Belfort.
Yeah, a juicy Vitor Belfort. You could have had Chael Sonnen as well.
Could have had GSP if you were.
You could have had GSP. I was tempted to put GSP.
He had 1 fight.
Yeah, I can't put him in. I would have done. Okay, guys, that was our top 5 picks, and we hope you like them. We hope you enjoyed them. Please do get your top 5s in the comment section below. It will be interesting to see what you guys have picked. And also, please smash a like on the video. Now, if you have liked this video, please do subscribe to our channel. We're a new UFC fan channel, and we're looking for innovative ways in which we can bring you, the fans, the ultimate content and the ultimate experience. Please do join us this weekend for UFC 263 as Israel Adesanya takes on Marvin Vettori. And there's also another title fight as well. Figueiredo versus Moreno.
We could potentially do a top 5 flyweights then, maybe. Ooh.
Yeah, we could have done tonight, but we thought we'll leave it for another time.
Yeah, we'll leave it for
We're ATF, and join us next time.
In at number 4, we got Rich Franklin.
Wait,
Franklin.
do that again?
Rich Franklin.
I spelled it wrong on here. Franklin.
Rich Franklin. Who the fuck is that guy?
Well, it's obviously all corrected. I know it's Franklin, but it says Franklin here.
To be quite frank, I think you need to do that again.
So in at number 4, we got Rich Franklin. I did it again. I did it again.
You did that on purpose.
No, it's because I'm reading it.
I swear you did that on
purpose. It's because I'm reading it. It's because I'm reading it. I'm saying Franklin. I know it's Franklin, but I'm reading Franklin. Oh, bloody hell.
Oh,
God.
Rich
I'm so glad you're first.
Rich Franklin.
Can't get much worse than this.
Rich Franklin. All right, straight faces. Coming in 5, 4, 3,
18.
2.
So, dash.
Sorry.
4, 3, 2. Suck it up. Okay. So in at number 4, we've got Rich Franklin. Now this guy,
Sorry.
I can't see you. Are you laughing too much to destroy the video?
That's the thing.
If you're laughing too much, you'll destroy the video because you're going to be in it as well. They're going to be like, what's he laughing at?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Sorry.